Welcome to Vampires and Mermaids. I'm Erin.
I'm Risha.
And we're back with another episode. Mine actually ties into our last Vampire and Mermaid episode.
Ooh,
so that's kind of fun.
fun.
How about you?
Mine is the one that you drew out of
Oh
the
my gosh, I
hat.
forgot all about it. I'm so excited about this.
Bunnicula, a rabbit tale of mystery. Today, vegetables. Tomorrow, the world.
I love it. I love it so much.
So you had read this before.
I think I read, because it's a series.
Yes.
And I think I read almost the entire series.
Oh, wow.
It was actually an assigned reading that we read in 5th grade.
Aw.
Yep, which great choice. I'm very impressed with that still, and I really liked it. Yeah, and I found out it was a series, so I just started going to the store, and I think I got a box set, or maybe I just collected them over time. But yeah, I ferociously read through them. I adore the series. It's been since 5th grade, so I don't really remember
That's
a ton. But I just remember it being like the perfect early young adult spooky book.
That's fair.
You know,
Yeah.
like it's that perfect, like it's a little spooky,
right.
but it didn't scare me.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just got a little creep factor,
Yeah.
but it's not, going to give you nightmares.
Right. And it was a very
Yeah.
original idea. So
It's really cute.
yeah. Have you read it before?
I had not. So I read it. I got myself a copy.
I saw you had spoiler. I saw it was a 4-star on Goodreads. So anyway, you got
I
yourself a
enjoyed it.
copy.
I did. And so let me just give you the kind of background.
Yes.
This is all I got in my encyclopedia of the
Oh my gosh,
elemental
it's in the
encyclopedia.
encyclopedia.
It is. It's Bunnicula, the vampire rabbit.
Oh my gosh.
It's a 1979 book for children written by Deborah and James Howe. Bunnicula tells the story of a vampire rabbit called Bunnicula that is still in print today. And the rabbit does not suck blood, but the juice from garden vegetables, so his predatory nature is not traditional. However, he is a charming example of how the pervasive vampire/Dracula image can be introduced to children in early life. That's the little snippet at the beginning. So I could have actually taken this out and done it with the whole Dracula deal that I'm going to do later on. But it's separate. It's separate enough, you know.
It's Bunnicula.
It is. And I had several thoughts. So I read it in about 1.5 days.
Oh yeah, it's short. How many
very
pages
short.
is it?
It is 98 pages.
Oh yeah.
Very short. It's got chapters, so that helps. It's a little easy to read.
Big margins.
Yeah.
Couple of pictures.
Oh, yeah, little illustrations in there. Very cute as well. My first thing that I wrote in here, because I make notes in books, and it's in the editor's note, and it's a note from the dog that tells the story. So the dog is like the main thing that you get your information from in the story. The dog and a little bit from the cat.
Yes.
The dog, Harold. And it doesn't really tell you that it's a dog until you get all the way to the middle of the second to last paragraph. And it says, my full-time occupation is dog. Not a dog, is dog.
Which is the most dog thing to say.
So my little note next to, cute. Immediately. It's just got a little cute.
Little charm.
Yeah, sweet. And you meet the family. The dog, too, comes out when the family comes home from a movie, and they're all aflutter because there's so many things that are happening, and they have a bundle that they brought back with them. And the dog then, from his perspective, is thinking, my tranquil evening had been destroyed, and no one had even said hello to me.
Oh.
I whimpered to remind them that I was there.
Harold.
Harold. So, yeah, it's pretty much they bring a bunny home. And they decide to name him Bunnicula because they were arguing about the name, and the mom wants to name every animal Fluffy. But they had went to see a Dracula film, and that's where they found the bunny. And so he became Bunnicula. And there's a note that was with the rabbit when they found him in the theater, by the way, on a seat.
I forgot about that, yeah.
And the Monroes is their last name. They weren't able to figure out what the note said because it was in an unfamiliar language. But the dog is like, most people might call me a mongrel, but I have some pretty fancy bloodlines running through these veins. Russian wolfhound happens to be one of them. And so he could read the note because it was a kind of Carpathian mountain region dialect of something.
And naturally, if you have that bloodline, you can read it.
Obviously.
I love it.
Yep. And they like all these animals read too, but the cat reads nonstop. This cat loves reading.
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah.
I thought that was like the funniest thing ever.
And the cat gets suspicious of this rabbit because the rabbit only is awake at night, and the rabbit can get through its cage without opening it, and the rabbit can get into the fridge, and the rabbit is leaving these vegetables white.
That's right.
Juice.
Yes, I forgot that he like literally sucked them white.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the family's like, there's some disease that's getting our vegetables. And the cat's like, it's the rabbit. And the cat ends up wearing garlic to block the rabbit from getting to the fridge. And the dog is like, why can't we all be friends? Like,
again, classic. The cat's like, I will find a way to fuck you up. And
Right?
the dog's like, I just think we're all buddies.
and the cat actually gets really mad at him for not like sticking up for him.
Not
'cause
helping.
The family gets mad at the cat and like kicks the cat out of
Oh.
the house at one point. And yeah, the cat's got his nose up on the glass. It's like, let me back in.
He's
The one,
trying to help.
no, I'll come back to that. I have a thing I'm going to come back to.
If I remember right, you had mentioned on the nose earlier, and I do remember being very on the nose because wasn't like his markings, didn't they look like a Dracula cape?
Yep.
I love that. I kind of forgot about that
Yes.
until I saw the cover, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's right. He had the tiny
Right.
little fangs, and I just love it because yeah, it is very on the nose, but it's a freaking bunny though, so it's like it's still so original,
Yeah.
but it's also, I don't know, I just love it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's one point the cat's trying to convince the dog that this is a real danger. And he's like, Harold. And the dog's like, what? What is it, Chester? It's a white zucchini. Next to it, I wrote, the horror.
Not a white zucchini.
No.
Oh my gosh.
This rabbit needs to die.
No, I think I remember actually in 5th grade being like, yeah, people need to side with the cat. And now as an adult, I'm like, calm the fuck down. Like, they're vegetables. I don't know.
Like, it's fine.
Right.
Yeah, because Chester started starving Bunnicula. So
Yes.
Bunnicula was getting really, really sick and lethargic. And then the dog ends up, putting a stop to that because he brings the Bunnicula into the kitchen and like plops him in a salad bowl because he's like, you need to eat.
Good boy, Harold.
And then Chester, the cat, walks in and is like, no. And he goes and there's a whole fight in the kitchen. And yeah, and then that's when they kind of kick Chester out. And oh no, they took Chester to a kitty psychiatrist.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
And then Chester started working on himself.
You know what? A great lesson.
Right.
Sometimes when things are going wrong in our relationships, it's important to self-reflect.
Uh-huh.
I love that.
Right. I will say Harold got a little annoyed by some of his self-reflection, though.
Well, I'm sure.
Chester walked up to him and said, Harold, do you realize we've never really communicated? I mean, really communicated. Then, Bunnicula ends up just being a part of the family.
Yeah.
And
we just
they
have a bunny rabbit.
deal with it,
Oh my gosh, I love that so much.
I will say there was one qualm I had with it.
Okay, what's your qualm?
So, there's a lot in here that talks about Harold, the dog, loving chocolate cupcakes.
No.
He says, my very favorite, the kind with cream in the middle, chocolate cupcakes. And the son, one of the boys, gives him chocolate cupcakes. And there's no repercussion for this at all.
That's
no
not okay.
consequence. So I was like, I don't know how I feel about a kid's book encouraging giving chocolate
Well, especially because
cupcakes.
kids might not know.
Right.
Yeah. Ooh, that is problematic.
Now, having said that, I mentioned that to our well, not yours anymore, my boss. And she was like, well, that wasn't widely known until like the mid 80s.
And this published in 79.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
And so I did a little tiny digging.
Oh my gosh.
And so the first time that it's really documented that chocolate is bad for dogs was 1942.
Okay.
However, The first actual case of death reported with a dog having eaten chocolate is likely around 1972.
Oh.
30 years after it was first
and only
talked
7
about.
years before this book was published.
Uh-huh. And so it wasn't really a widely known thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Huh. And to be fair, little devil's advocate, don't give your dogs chocolate.
Oh, gosh, please no.
No circumstance ever. But yeah, they don't just die when they have it. Especially if you're giving like a individual cupcake to a large dog, which if I recall, Harold is very large.
Yeah.
I know he says he has like Russian wolfhound, which is I don't even know if Russian wolfhound is a thing.
I don't know.
I know Irish wolfhounds are a thing and they are huge. So like the amount of toxin in that cupcake, he's probably fine.
He's probably fine, right?
Yeah.
But you don't want
But
to
you don't
encourage kids
right, don't
that
do it
don't
anyway.
understand.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
But that was
interesting.
Bunnicula.
Oh, I love that so much. I am so excited for my mom to listen to this episode because I remember she really encouraged me to read in general, which was awesome.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she'd go take me to our little local bookstore all the time, and it was a great time. And they had 2 little dogs there, and it was just so fun. But she loved this series because my mom used to show rabbits.
Aww.
So when she was a kid, she always had a rabbit that she would do showmanship with in 4-H and compete competitively.
Cute.
And I think, I might get it wrong, I think it was a Dutch rabbit,
Oh.
which the color patterning is similar to Bunnicula. It doesn't look like a cloak. Obviously, it's like the rounded shapes, but the black and white, short hair, upright ears is a Dutch rabbit, which interestingly enough, I actually lived with a Dutch rabbit my sophomore year of college. My roommate Bridget had a Dutch rabbit. I know,
Cute.
pretty cool.
There was one thing I did forget to say.
Yes.
So I didn't read this as a child.
Right.
And one of the big reasons I think, so my brother Nick, I'm pretty sure had a copy. I was asking him about it, and I think he read it.
Oh no.
And I think there were like a couple of them. And I remember seeing the cover of one of them. It was kind of like a weird holographic blue with like a red lightning bolt or something on it.
Okay.
And I remember like being scared of it,
Oh.
partially because I was terrified of The Littlest Vampire, which that's another movie I should probably cover at some point. I think I've mentioned that before on
you
here.
have.
Also, Monty Python and the Holy Grail and the rabbit with the sharp pointy teeth.
I have not seen that.
Oh, you haven't seen that.
Oh, but interesting.
So that one is
okay.
a terrifying rabbit in there. I think it's terrifying.
That's fair.
Yeah. And so I had avoided it.
Oh, I didn't realize
For a
that. I just thought you
while.
hadn't heard of it. But
No,
that's so
yeah.
sexy. I feel like you would have loved it.
I probably would have.
But I also kind of
Yeah.
enjoy that you got to embrace it like as an
Right?
adult.
I'm like,
It's
aw.
a fun little trip down.
Very quick read, very
Yeah.
sweet. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That's one of those like books I'm totally gonna get like my kids. You know, like here you go. Here's a little spoopy book for you. Yeah. It's like the perfect intro to spooky pre like Stephen King's young adult books.
Yeah.
Not like Misery, not Cujo, none of that. But like he has some young adult books.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is like the step younger.
Like
you know?
just to see if they enjoy
Is
that.
this your theory?
right?
Is this your Do you like thrillers? Do you like a little mystery?
Right. Do you
Little
like
creep?
it without giving you like nightmares?
right. And then you can go to some more young adult books and then you can
Right.
slowly kind of go that route. Oh, that's so fun. My story is very different than Bunnicula, but God, I just love Bunnicula so much. My whole day is made just because I knew you were doing this and I like forgot, which made it even better. I'm going to talk about the Mermaid of Zennor, who I brought up last time. So I feel like I should probably do that right away. So I dug into the Mermaid of Zennor a little bit. We talked about her in the last episode about mermaid homes.
Yeah.
And I got some more background on her, and it's a really interesting story. So the Mermaid of Zennor is actually a Cornish tale. It takes place in the village and civil parish it takes place in the village of Zennor, also the civil parish of Zennor in Cornwall, England, hence being Cornish, which is on the northern coast of England. I said England in English a lot. My sources today, by the way, really quick, are Wikipedia, Mermaid Atlas, and the Cornwall Heritage Trust.
Oh.
I just really enjoyed that was included. And then Atlas Obscura as well. This tale was originally recorded by folklorist William Bottrell in 1873 after he visited Zennor. The tale is much older than that, but he was the first one to write it down. So the tale of the Mermaid of Zennor goes. A beautiful, green-eyed, golden-haired woman occasionally attended church services, at St. Senara's Church. This church overlooks the sea, and it was built in around the 16th century AD. Currently, it's still there, by the way. The current building, though, is not from 6th the 6th century AD. It was rebuilt in the 13th and 15th century.
Ah, sure.
But those are still there in the original location.
Well, you said it was northern?
Yes.
Like, is it close to Scotland then?
I think so.
Okay. That might, because I have Next Tale, FYI. It's in that area, and there was a lot of back and forth between when Scotland had that area, and when like the UK, England had that area.
Sure.
And they would do a lot of the rebuilding then.
Oh, interesting. So that's maybe why.
Maybe.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it just said the northern coast, Cornwall, and then, that was rebuilt in the 13th and 15th century. Because, like, one side of the building is still original from the 13th century, and one side was rebuilt in the 15th century, which is crazy. 'Cause in America, we do not have shit that's that old. So really neat. And the church is still in regular use.
Oh, cool.
Right? They still do regular services there, weddings, funerals, the whole works. So this beautiful green-eyed woman would attend occasionally, very sporadically. And she always wore a shimmering floor-length gown of a material that no one had ever seen. And she would sit alone on a pew near the back.
Huh.
Now, she never visibly aged. I don't know how long these occasional visits occurred, but the whole time she never seemed to get older, and no one ever knew where she was from, which for the little tiny villages of however long ago this was very strange.
Nobody spoke to her?
They never talked about it. I don't think there's a lot of plot holes in the story.
Sure.
Yeah. Now, a young man named Matthew Truhella caught her eye. You see, he was the best singer in the church choir, so naturally he was the boy to catch. Mm-hmm. And one Sunday after service, they both disappeared.
Oh, the scandal.
I know.
Clutching the pearls.
Yes, exactly. Very scandalous. So there are a few different reasons why they might have disappeared. Either they fell in love. Who knows what was really going on. Maybe they had a platonic, beautiful romance for some time before this. Or he was lured by her angelic voice. Is another very siren-esque.
Maybe she's a Selkie.
Possible. That is also in that region.
Mm-hmm.
Now, no one knew what happened to them until, quote, one Sunday. Everything happens on a Sunday in these stories, yes. When a mermaid appeared to a ship that was anchored about a mile from the coast.
Oh.
And she asked the workers on the ship to please move because their anchor was blocking the entrance to her cave.
Aww.
And her family was trapped inside.
No.
Yes. So they pulled anchor and they actually just straight up left because apparently they were like, this is a bad sign. This is a big bad omen. And that's where the story ends. Literally everywhere. That's why I put my references in because I'm like, I checked 4 different places and that's the story. How anticlimactic is that?
Took the anchor up and we're like, yep, we're out of here.
And everyone was like, well, that must be where Matthew went. But he never actually was seen?
Oh, wait, because I remember that was a part that her family was trapped and
yes.
Yeah,
but they never actually confirmed that, like, Matthew was her husband. So it's theorized that, like, she married and they had kids.
Maybe
but, like,
she ate him.
That's what I'm saying. It could have been, like, a Black Widow situation, or maybe it was completely unrelated to this woman that he left. Like, I don't know.
Oh,
they never
that
get
could
into
be.
it. Right. Maybe it was coincidence and they just blamed the stranger in town.
Maybe that's how she found out that people couldn't breathe underwater.
Oh, that'd be awkward.
Yeah.
Well, that's just it too. If he did marry her and go to live with her, how did he live? Like, was there some transformation?
Maybe.
They also never talked about how she could get to church because it was like up a cliff, like it was overlooking the ocean. So she had a floor-length gown on, and we talked about that last time too. Like, was this hiding her tail,
or did she transform?
Right, which would be totally valid.
Right,
and like a floor-length gown in that time wouldn't have been that odd. It had a train, which was a little bit strange. So I don't know. That's just where the story ends. And I think that's the strangest ending to a story.
They were just like, nope.
Right. They're like, and her family was in the cave. The end. It's like, but was that Matthew? Like, I feel like there's like a little bit of an arch, and then it just like, cuts off. Yeah. So not really sure about that. If there is another ending, let me know, because I checked so many sources and I could find nothing. Now, a little bit more about the church. Specifically the Mermaid Chair. Not to be confused with the Sue Monk Kidd novel, The Mermaid Chair. So it is a little bit similar in the way that takes place in a church. Sue Monk Kidd's book, The Mermaid Chair, was originally published by Viking in 2005. Its overview is: inside the church of a Benedictine monastery on Egret Island, just off the coast of Southern California, resides a beautiful and mysterious chair ornately carved with mermaids and decorated dedicated to a saint who legend claimed was a mermaid before her conversion. When Jessie Sullivan is summoned home to the island to cope with her eccentric mother's seemingly inexplicable behavior, she is living a controversial life with her husband, Hugh, a life, quote, molded to the smallest space possible, end quote. Jessie loves Hugh, but once on the island, she finds herself drawn to Brother Thomas. Oh my, I never actually read this. A monk about to take his final vows. Amid a rich community of unforgettable island women and exotic beauty of marshlands, tidal creeks, and majestic egrets, Jessie grapples with the tension of desire and her struggle to deny it with a freedom that feels overwhelmingly right and the immutable force of home and marriage. I never actually read that description until now.
Is there a saint that is a mermaid thing?
I don't know. I don't think so. So the church was named after a saint.
Okay.
So it's so yeah, that's Sue Monk Kid's book. I don't know if I'll ever read that. We'll see. Saint Serena's church. Oh, Senara. Sorry, Saint Senara. Senara ''S. There was a little bit of a story about that. I didn't get too into it, but it was named after a saint who's either built it or it was built in her honor. Now the chair, there is actually a mermaid chair located in this church to this day. It's similar to what the book overview described. This chair dates back possibly to the 15th century. It still remains in the church. It's a pew end, so it's like one of the little seats that you like butt up against the pew, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what it looks like, but it kept being referred to as a pew end, and I'm like, well, it's not just the end piece of a pew, it's like a whole seat, but it has both sides. So picture it basically, for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, it looks like
a little bench.
Yeah, like a little bench, exactly. Now, the pew end has both sides ornately carved and showing a beautiful mermaid on it. Now, some say that it is the bench she sat on, and they later decorated it. And it was carved to commemorate the events, while others say it's there as a warning to young men about the dangers of mysterious women.
The sirens.
Exactly. Oh, those girls come from out of town.
Do you have a picture of this bench?
I do. Let me pull it up.
Because you'll put that on the Instagram?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. She's got her belly button.
Yeah, it's described as like belly a sumptuously curved woman. And
her face reminds me of Crash Bandicoot.
I don't know what that is. So yeah, kind of fun thing about the mermaid chair, right?
I like it.
So now we have a little bit more information about last week's The Mermaid of Zennor.
That's awesome. Love
the fact that there's still a chair there from the OG story, which also a little confusing or concerning because maybe that was just a fun legend and they're like, haha, let's make the chair. Or maybe there was actually some poor chick coming to town occasionally coming to service, maybe fell in love with the guy, maybe didn't, but this guy happened to disappear and they were like, you're a mermaid and we're carving a bench to warn the boys. And it's like,
oh, geez.
Well, you know, like,
what if she came back after it like was made and then that was the tale they were saying?
Yeah. They're like, where's Matthew? And she's like, who the fuck is Matthew? He was the best singer in the choir. Everyone knows that. Like, okay. Yeah. So that's all I have for today.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, that was a good little story. Just two very fun stories today. I love it.
Awesome.
Right? If you want to know more or if you have any recommendations, contact us. You can email us vampsandmers with the and spelled out @gmail.com, or you can direct message us or comment on our Instagram @vampsandmers with the and sign. Give us a follow on Instagram and also wherever you're currently listening.
Woo.
Rate, review, tell your friends, your mom, your next door neighbor, your hairstylist.
Maybe.
Stay thirsty and keep wet.
Cover your necks and watch your tail.
Obscurantism and obfuscation.
Orally observed, gentle listener.
Gentle listener.
Gentle listener.
Gentle listener.
Obviated objects of oblivion.
Obambulating about.
Offered unto you.
Offered unto you.
Offered unto you.
In the Tapestry Radio Network.
TapestryRadio.org.
From our fancy to yours.